In the past week, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero has been exploding with new details and gameplay, and today we're going to be taking a look at some exclusive interviews that Jun Furutani, the producer of Sparking Zero, did partake in, and he gave us quite a good handful of information, including things such as online play, as what their aim for the game is, local, and how that was determined. Everything that you will want to know about this game upcoming are covered in these little interviews that were taken. Of course, let me know what you guys' favorite part of Sparking Zero is so far in the comments below, and feel free to leave a like if you do enjoy the video. So I want to give a big shout out to Ayub here. Ayub did go ahead and compile all this information and translate it for us all to read. So I will be leaving his Twitter in the description below. He posts tons of useful information regarding Sparking Zero, so I recommend giving him a follow. But hopping right into this interview here, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, what is the balance of the battles and what is the appeal of the series? Now, the first question here is, first of all, please tell us how you came to revive the Sparking series, which, if you're not aware just yet, the Sparking series is the name for Budokai Tenkaichi in Japan specifically, and of course, this is the next installment of that series. The answer here, I thought that the Sparking series had reached its final form with Dragon Ball Z Sparking Meteor, which is Budokai Tenkaichi 3. However, the platform has evolved since then, and other Dragon Ball game series have been released, such as, let's say, Xenoverse, Fighters, Raging Blast even, like all of these other series in the past. So it was about time to get fresh surprises and excitement as new Dragon Ball battles, such as things from Dragon Ball Super, let's say Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, upcoming Dragon Ball Daima, right? And so we embarked on the latest installment in the series for the first time in 17 years. And, I'm sure we all know this has been a very highly anticipated sequel to Budokai 3 Sparking Meteor. So it is nice that we're finally getting this, right? Next question here. Is it one of the reasons why Dragon Ball has been loved as content for so long? And the answer is, of course, that is one of the reasons. Overseas fans can now play Dragon Ball games, so we're making this title with the intention of delivering it to a worldwide audience. And I think that might be just inferring how, there are some Dragon Ball games that I feel are exclusive to Japan, and that's not really as much of a thing anymore. Along with that, I feel like, it is nice to hear that us as a global audience does have a voice just like the Japanese audience, because you can even tell by the title of it being Sparking Zero, they usually kind of base it around the Japanese audience, and then furthermore, maybe sometimes the global audiences get like a really good like voice in here, but them delivering this with the intention of worldwide audience, global audiences is good as well. So it makes me feel like, if we do need our voice to be heard in replies to social media, responding to support, that can be done. So again, if there's anything you guys want to change with the series, feel free to go ahead and respond to the Twitter replies of the official Dragon Ball media sites in terms of the game specifically, I guess. And of course, Bandai support, from what I've seen, they have been relaying some of this feedback to the producers. At least that's what they say. So if we do trust in what they say, any feedback can be left to them. So I would recommend doing that if you want any changes to the game. Now, the next question, which I do find an interesting one, is them asking, are there any changes in the development structure from the previous title? And Furutani did say people who worked on the previous title are involved in the development of this title. Spike Chunsoft is still in charge of development, so you can rest assured that the soul of the series has been firmly inherited. In terms of development skill, it is the largest number of characters to participate in the series, so please look forward to it. So if we take that again directly like that, then that could mean that this game has the largest roster compared to all the other Sparking titles. And on top of that, I mean, we've seen gameplay. I think Syriax literally posted this specifically, but of like the original Budokai Tenkaichi 3 Vegeta combo, then he directly did that in Sparking Zero. So we can see the soul, the essence, the mechanics of the original series play a big role and are implemented well into this new, I guess you could say, remake of the Sparking series in terms of modern times, which is really good. Now, this question here, what is the appeal unique to the Sparking series? Furutani answered, "The experience of playing as Dragon Ball characters is the most important thing to them. In order to realize that experience, we prepared many characters and are particular about effects. When you collect energy, surroundings, we can see them move around. When you fully charge, the ground and rocks around you break. We believe that the experience of the power of a super warrior can be felt from such things, and we're pursuing it. Even though it's the same fighting games, rather than fighting strictly in equal term like in Dragon Ball FighterZ, it is designed to focus on the Dragon Ball like action. In that sense, strong characters in the game are very strong, and the weaker characters have a hard time." Now, there have been some, complaints about this, and I understand, right? Because if you are a fan of someone who is not, like, if you're a fan of, like, Yamcha, and then you're going against someone who's using Gogeta Blue, the game technically is designed against you in that wording. Or if you're a fan of Krillin or any of the Earthlings, like me personally, I love Tien, right? And if I want to use Tien online and I run into someone using UI Goku, Full Power Jiren, and Gogeta Blue on the same team, I'm like, well, that kind of sucks, right? Especially when it comes to online ranked being a thing. Now, from this other interview, I do want to confirm that they did confirm there is going to be cost limits. So each fighter you bring has a certain value attached, and this is specifically for like the ranked option, it seems, from what I'm understanding. That way the game is going to be balanced, so you can't just choose like Vegeta Blue, Gogeta Blue, UI Goku, Full Power Jiren, like the Broly, the strongest characters. You can't just put them all on one team. You have to strategize with the cost limit and determine, the weaker characters and the stronger characters and how they synergize together even. I think can go a long way. So you do want to think about how you build your teams, which I think is really cool, actually. I really do like that aspect. So hopefully they do implement it well, and it's a thing where, especially more so ranked. I feel like if it's like normal player battles or against your friends, it doesn't matter. But I think ranked mode is where this does matter. So hopefully that is implemented well, I would say, for ranked specifically, because that could make... Otherwise, ranked could be pretty... It would be pretty like the same characters, like all over and over, right? Now, next question here. The previous title, Dragon Ball Z Sparking Meter, had Z in the title, but why did it disappear? I mean, even I can answer this one. Of course, Dragon Ball Super is included, so Z has been removed. The reason for the title Zero is to make it easier to start from here, so it's like ground zero. So, I definitely can see in the future if this game will do successful, right? I could see them doing sequels. What if it's like Dragon Ball Sparking 1 or something? I don't know. But it's like basically the groundwork, I think is their thought. By the way, the Sparking series was released overseas as the Budokai Tenkaichi name, but this work has a unified name. So I guess, that's kind of the reason why they changed it from Budokai Tenkaichi as well, in terms of, wanting to start from zero in a sense, which is fine, honestly. But, we all know that this is part of the Budokai Tenkaichi series, and to be honest, I think they should have advertised it as Budokai Tenkaichi 4, but it is what it is. Now on the next page, there is a little note here stating that episode battle and edit mode will let you experience the original stories, what if versions to your heart's content. Now we do know there are like custom what ifs you can make. There are original what ifs that is made in the story mode itself, essentially, that you could play between like 8 like point of views from different characters, I believe is how it works. Now the question here is, how far would the episode battles branch out? Are there multiple endings? Now we do know that, episode battles will be like the story modes basically and the what ifs in there. Now the answer is, rather than branching out countless times, I imagine that in some stages you can enjoy slightly different developments depending on the results of your battles and your choices. While the story will basically follow the original, I think you'll be able to enjoy some what if series. So I guess in that scenario, like we did see the first what if where we saw, instead of Goku leaving with Piccolo to fight Raditz, Goku left by himself and Krillin joined him. Then later on, we also saw Master Roshi using the, I think it's called the Bankoku Shirisho or something like that. I forgot what the actual name is. And then he held Raditz in the air and Piccolo did the special beam cannon and finished him off. So it was the same end result, kind of, but this time Goku's alive, right? So we'll see exactly how the changes will lead in the story when the official game drops. Next question here regarding episode battles. You said that you could switch to Goku's point of view in some event scenes, but is this possible for other characters? And the answer is it'll only be possible in the perspective of the character of that episode battle. If this is Vegeta's episode battle, you can switch to Vegeta's point of view. So we did see as well when Goku was holding Raditz in the story, little like preview they gave us, we saw the whoever was recording did switch to Goku's point of view specifically, so we were able to see Goku get impaled by the special beam cannon in his point of view, which is kind of funny. And then next is, how dense will the story of episode battle be? The answer from Furutani, of course, is that it won't be that detailed, but I think you'll be able to understand the flow of the story itself, a cycle of what happened before the battle being depicted and then the battle began. So again, we can kind of see, if you want like to experience the story in like a really great depth, that is what like Kakarot's for, but this game is aiming to be a little different with the what ifs, which I do find quite enjoyable. So next question is about the edit mode, where we're able to create our custom what ifs. In the edit mode, players can create various stories, but how much freedom can they have? And basically you could freely arrange lines and characters. There are about 5,000 lines prepared, and you could change the character names in the text to other character names, so the degree of freedom and customization is quite high. Now we do know that there are going to be some of those lines voiced, but not all lines are voiced. In this other interview, it says in custom battle, you can create battles with your own victory conditions by having characters speak lines that you set. Although not fully voiced, there are many lines and situations to choose from, so it seems there's a high degree of freedom. So some lines will have voices, some lines won't. We don't know the extent of it. Again, that's something we're going to have to find out when the game releases in a couple of months. Next, are there any stage gimmicks prepared? Regarding stage gimmicks such as destruction, they're basically the same in battle mode. However, you could set ring outs in some stages, let's say the World Tournament stage, or even, I'm sure, Tournament of Power stage. Last one is, can you get rewards by playing edit mode? There are no particular rewards for battles created by users, but some battles in pre-prepared situations can lead to unlocking elements, so you can enjoy them as a replay element. So we'll see what exactly that means, but if you play the pre-made what if battles made by the developers, then you may be able to get some, again, elements, they say, basically. So we'll see exactly how that works out. Next here, it seems that you could have different numbers of the people on your team in battles, but in that case, will be there any adjustments such as handicaps to your stamina, etc.? The answer is there are no plans for that in the moment. In the final version, the limit is 5v5. You will be able to organize characters freely within the cost limit that is stated, so the adjustments will be made based on that cost. By the way, even if characters have the same name, their cost will differ depending on the era and transformation stage. So again, if you have Super Saiyan 3 Goku, I guess if you try to start off with him, you will have a higher cost compared to if you started off with base Goku, even of that same like era, or if you start with like Goku early and instead where he doesn't have Super Saiyan, right, he'll have a lower cost limit, is what I assume will be a thing. So I think that's kind of cool again, where even if you start off as Super Saiyan 3 Goku specifically, you're going to have a higher cost than starting off of base and Goku, because of course you don't have to work up to that transformation anymore. Next question, will be there ranked for online battles? They are planning to implement them. And then right here, I understand that split screen battles are only possible offline in the Room of Spirit and Time, but can the Room of Spirit and Time be selected as a stage in other modes? And they did confirm that you can select the Hyperbolic Time Chamber in other modes. But again, keep in mind, split screen offline local is only available in the Room of Spirit and Time. We do know that this was a decision made like probably not too long ago, but because of, I guess, maybe how the stage destruction works, that stage has like almost no destruction you could do, is what I'm like guessing the reason is. So it's better to have that option than nothing. But in case you were wondering if local does exist, local does indeed exist in this game, which I think will be good, right? Just because there are not going to be always situations where you're going to always be playing online. Now, if you're interested in more questions on balancing, so there is a power difference between the characters, but what's the maximum? For example, is it possible for Hercule to be Goku? answer is that it's not that he can't take damage. So as long as you have the skills in the game, you could win. So he's basically saying, get good, man. Question here: are there plans to adjust the balance after the release? If the playing environment becomes difficult, we plan to implement an update. At this stage, we do not know the specific timing, but we would like to create an environment that can be played for a long time, including updates. Of all the characters I was able to play this time, Mr. Satan felt that the controls were quite different. Is he in a special position in the work? Would be that next question. And of course, the answer is Mr. Satan is a special character because he cannot fly. I think the cost will be relatively low. Other characters who cannot fly in the original work, such as Kami Sennin, are also unable to fly. So again, we know that Master Roshi can't fly, and Hercule also can't fly as well. But we saw. I'm gonna try to find the clip. Hopefully I do find it, but there's like Mr. Satan, like him just like jumping multiple times in the air, so you can kind of like jump as many times as you want. Kind of makes the camera look a little weird, but he of course also slowly floats down, so he doesn't have a jetpack or like a hover pack like in the previous installments, but it's not like you could just jump as many times. Let me know what you guys think about that, by the way, because I've seen some people prefer the old method with the hover pack. So, an interesting question regarding fusions or timed transformations. It was asked, fusion was possible in the trial play, but are there any gimmicks such as receiving damage or being unfused over time as in the original work? And it was confirmed that fusion and transformations will be permanent once you transform or fuse, so you're not going to defuse out of Gogeta or run out of time in Super Saiyan 3, which I think is a pretty good thing. They did confirm that Potara would also work the same way as well in the next question, so that's very good to know. Now, next here is selecting the various battle assists as control settings. There's auto and semi-auto. Are there any operations that can be performed in semi-auto that are not in auto? And he does confirm there's no difference in what you could do, but the number of operations the player can intervene in does increase. They made it so that you can perform Dragon Ball-like movements with even just rapid taps, so you could change it to your liking according to your skill. So, with that in mind, if you have a harder time playing with the manual schemes and you still need to get used to the game, right? You can choose more of an auto kind of mechanic there. But moving on, when it comes to like manual, the advantage for manual mode that they asked here is you can counter by pressing the button at the right time, and you could adjust the timing as you like. For advanced players, there's also tactics as deliberately taking a break during a combo, which will shift the timing of an enemy's counterattack. So if you want to pursue action, we recommend choosing manual. Now, when it comes to any damage disparity between any of the modes, you do not have to worry. It was asked if the damage will change between semi-auto and auto, as in other recent fighting games, but you can set it whatever is easy to operate, and it is not the case in which damage will be changed depending on which one you select. So that's a good thing, right? Keeping things even between all the different modes. Next here, what kind of strategies have been created by the new skill stock feature? So skill stock is the blast stock from the previous game, in addition to skills and other actions from the previous games. An action called super identification per this translation is now possible, which will allow you to deflect blast from opponents such as Kamehamehas, maybe Galick Guns, etc. There's also a counter action called the Revenge Counter added, which is another new mechanic, which will allow you to counter even when you're under attack. I think I saw this clip of Vegeta grabbing Mr. Satan's like hand and then pushing him away. That might be what that is. I'll have it on the screen if I could find it. Don't trust me that 100%. I don't know if that's for sure, but that could be a similar kind of thing. But it is important to think about how you move and attack with your own skill stock, and of course when your opponent has a lot of it as well, and how you may move around anticipating any counter attacks. So the next question here, they just asked if one of the tactics is to make their opponent use their skill stock, and Furutani did confirm that is correct. There's no way to intentionally reduce your skill stock, but you can induce it depending on how you fight, such as continuing to attack and forcing them to use revenge counter. If your skill stock runs out, it's a chance to attack, so I recommend attacking on all ones. So a lot of the gameplay seems to be potentially based around skill stock specifically, and if you run out, you could be left wide open for a counter attack, so you do really want to be careful about that. Next question here. Are there any techniques that can't be countered with counter-type actions? There are lots of techniques that can't be countered with the Ultimate Blast. It's a big technique after you saved up all your energy. I think this is like kind of a weird translation as listed here, but I assume they mean like your ultimate attacks cannot be countered with counter type actions such as the Revenge counter. So that's, a good thing that there are some moves that will be guaranteed to hit even with the skill stock available. Next here, will there be an opportunity for any users to play the game before release? The answer is I can't give you any details yet, but I would like to provide as many opportunities as possible for you to play it. So hopefully this means like an in-home demo on PlayStation Network, in the PlayStation Store, Xbox Store. I don't believe Steam really ever gets like these online demos, but hopefully again a demo does appear in the future. That would be nice. Now we have final 2 questions here regarding the progress of development. Are you already in the stage of balancing? It is not yet in the final stage, but we are adjusting a balance currently. Finally, please give us a message as a question. The answer is we will do our utmost to make it possible for you to enjoy the experience of becoming a Dragon Ball character. It will take some time until release, but we hope you look forward to it. We plan to release more information about the available characters in the future, so please look forward to that as well. So that is all there is regarding that specific interview. Now there is a question I did want to take a look here from this other IGN China interview here. I would like to ask about the scope of the game's story mode. Will it include scenes for the new theatrical version to be released in 2024, which is Dragon Ball Daima? And the main idea for the story mode is to provide players with a plot and experience closer to the original. Taking the Goku line as example, it will start from the Battle of Raditz from Dragon Ball Z and continue to the Tournament of Power in Dragon Ball Super. So it seems like in terms of the main story, Dragon Ball Super Broly is not going to be a thing, and they will only go up to 2D Tournament of Power. Now, it is a little disappointing that Super Broly won't be a part of the main story, but again, we do have the option to make our own what ifs, so it's not the biggest deal at the end of the day. But I do want to confirm that just in case some people may be interested in that specifically. But that is all the real important information. I feel like I will leave the interviews in the thread that I just read in the description as well. Feel free to check it out if you want to see any other smaller details that I feel like may not be as necessary as mostly everything I covered in this video regardless. But let me know what you guys think, what you guys are most anticipated from these interviews in terms of what's making it into the game, and I will catch you all next time.